Detroit plus Beverly D's audience and Ron March's audience, and we have a very good time kicking some ideas and understanding, and everything is golden. Miss Beverly, are you there?
Yes, I am, Ron March. Happy
there
Wednesday to you.
Thank you. These last days remind me of China. I haven't seen the sun too much, you know what I mean?
Right.
All this fog makes me think I'm still over there. But everything is good today. I've been doing some research on this validation that we're going to talk about tonight. But I thought maybe we might want to kick around some ideas on the Republican Party and this hellfire storm that's brewing. I think we all should be looking at it. It's scary the way that those Europeans act. To me, it's scary. They I don't know. They got a one-track mind. They go in one direction. But I was told a long time ago, and I think I should let everybody hear this. There's a book I meant to bring it tonight. It's called What's in a Name. And what the book talks about is, in order for the government, and I'll just use that word loosely, in order for the government to do its dirt, they must put a face on their opponent. May it be a negative or a positive, it doesn't matter. They have to put a face on it. Just like religion, they had to create Jesus and put a face on it so that they could put it on the table and massage all definitions and all clarifications of Jesus. And I'm not talking about the religion. I'm just talking about the look and the word and the conditions of. For example, with black folks, they take us and paint us to be criminals. Now, all the way over in China, they were asking. They couldn't figure out what I was doing over there. I wasn't on a military mission. I wasn't on a government mission. I'm over there as a tourist. And I'm a free black man from America, free Moor from America. And it didn't click well with them. They didn't really know how to handle me. And when I say them, I'm talking basically the Europeans. There were a lot of Europeans over there from Europe, but most were from the UK. And they take vacations all over areas all over the world. And they know what areas to go in and what areas to come out of. And most of the areas that they go to are westernized areas. Like most of us in the United States, we go to the Bahamas. We consider that a vacation. We've been on a vacation. Well, it's nothing more than Disney World because it's so commercialized by Western commerce. You dig?
Right.
But they have to put a face on it. Now, right now, since the World War I type fighting, now think back when you saw movies of World War I. That was the damnedest type of fighting, and that was historical. The way they fought in World War I was historical, meaning you move forward 20 miles, you fight, and you get pushed back 15 miles. You move forward 20 miles and get pushed back 5 miles. You're winning the war because you're gaining turf and you're gaining ground. They dug all those trenches and they fight to go to the trench. Get out in the trench. They fight. They get their butt kicked. They come out of the trenches and run to the trenches behind. Well, that was the way warfare was fought all the way back during the Indian so-called Indian cowboy crap they put on television. But when you start dealing with underdeveloped countries, and listen carefully, you can't fight that conventional type war with undeveloped countries. That's why they had to create call it what? Agent Orange. They created Agent Orange during the Vietnam War so they could spray the jungles and eat them up so they could see the enemy and go back with that conventional type warfare, bombing and blanket bombing and that type of thing. Well, today they got a big problem. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight these quote-unquote terrorists. Now they have to label it. They got to have a name on it. So they label all insiders who object to America, all foreigners who object to America. They label them terrorists. Now they can give it definitions. They can write stories about it. They can create why they hate terrorists. That's why Trump's having so much trouble running his damn mouth, because he's coming from the European perspective that terrorists is destroying America. Well, terrorists, from their definition, is destroying the world, because the world has been strangling innocent people for hundreds of years. The corporations are guilty of terrorism, if you ask me, by definition. But now that they can't bring tanks up, they can't have planes that are faster than, they can't have guns that can shoot 10,000 rounds a second. That type of warfare is not what's being used today. So they're really lost. And if you listen to them, it's disgraceful that we have these types of people governing this country that are nothing but stone idiots when they're in their comfortable zone where they can dictate and yield to the faces that they already have studied. They're tough as hell. But when they go into an unknown area, such as quote-unquote terrorists, they are lost. Their guns don't work. The bombs don't work. The tanks don't work. The drone missiles don't work. You understand? Do you get an idea of what I'm trying to say, Beth? Or am I making sense?
Well, now who is the terrorist?
Let's deal with that. That's a good question. That's a very good question. Who are the terrorists? All right, let's take one incident. Now, keep in mind, Obama has been using the drone missiles to so-called strategically bomb places all over the Middle East ever since he's been in office. Mm-hmm. So if they get word that some leader is attending a soccer game, they will send the drone in, blow up the soccer game, and then put on the headlines, "We've killed the #1 terrorist of the world." But now they have created another 10,000 because they killed all the other people that were there. They never talk about the people that they killed in order to get that one so-called terrorist. And here lately, they have been totally missing the terrorists the way they bombed that hospital over there in Syria, which was a legal United Nations hospital. And they claimed, United States claimed, that their their computers had a glitch in it, and they could, and their bombing patterns were off, but they killed all of those patients. Now they were after one guy that they thought was in that hospital, but they killed damn near everybody in the hospital to get him. Those are the terrorists. You think about it. What are you going to do? You sitting at home minding your business. They drop a bomb and kill all your babies, your wife, your husbands, your daughters, your dogs, your cats. And they on the news bragging that they finally got Ron March because he was invited over to Beverly D's. And we had good inside information that Ron was invited to dinner, and all we had to do was wait for the time period, and we blanket bombed the whole neighborhood. Now, the headlines will clap. All those idiots will start clapping that we're winning with the fight on terror. Now, meanwhile, there's Beverly D crying. She's so hurt. She's crying, just crying, mad as a wet hen. Beverly D, you are a terrorist because you are angry at United States or whoever did it. Didn't have to be United States.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those people now, they paint them with ugliness. That's what I'm talking about. You got to put a face on it. They know what I'm saying is totally true. But in order for it to work, they got to do certain things to make you not think the way you should be thinking, such as they're chopping off their heads. Okay, think about that for a minute. I think they claim that 3 heads were chopped off. All right, good. Now, how many people have they killed trying to kill one person? But all we can think about is, they're ruthless. You can't work with them. They just chop off people's heads. We are not going to tolerate that. Okay, come on now. Let's think about that. So every time they bomb, they create a terrorist. Those babies that grow up, how do you think they're going to feel when they can't find their mama and their daddy? And somebody told them, well, United States bombed them. How do you think Japan feels after dropping the atomic bomb on factories, Beverly? They didn't drop it on the war zones. They didn't drop it on the troops. They dropped it on the cities because they claim that the cities was building too much machinery and too much war machines. Now, but not only did they drop bombs, they dropped nuclear bombs, which meant all the survivors were injured. All the survivors that were in the area were injured. The genes, they're still producing babies in Japan today that are deformed because of the genes that were knocked out of whack when they dropped the atomic bomb. I don't know if you know that, but that's that. Now, what are you going to call those people in Japan? They try to do all they can to make them forget it, but yet this year on the 7th or whatever date it was, they had not a parade, but they had a celebration so they won't forget. You dig? The Jews do it all the time. They won't let you forget the Holocaust. They still hate Germans. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a terrorist, is an angry person. And if you get a chance to talk with one, he's going to tell you why he's doing what he's doing. They have painted the terrorists now that they want to go to heaven and see Allah. They hate the Western world. They teach that the Western world is no good. Well, we know the Western world ain't no good. They done did everything they could possibly do to us. And they did the worst thing to us because they created, out of our race, they created the Negro. How much more inhuman can you be when you take a race of people and make them into something that they're not? We should be terrorists. You get what I'm saying?
I got it. But we also is under that European psychology too.
Yes.
And
but
so,
that's all good. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, what do you do when you have them having terrorists in the states, like the shooting that we just had over there? Where was that shooting at in California?
San Bernardino. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And they want, the first thing they said is it was a woman and a man, and they trying to get everybody against the Muslim. And now they finding out that it was 3 white men in military uniforms. Too many witnesses is coming out saying that they saw them doing the shooting.
Yes. Now, that is perfect for you to analyze, and it's a good look on your part, because I was going to ask you, did you understand how they presented this killing? It was not a terrorist killing. They thought it was a job-related killing, right? And then anytime you see them careen off the so-called criminal site, put the yellow ribbons up, the yellow ropes and stuff up, they can put anything in that house. They saw them carrying boxes in, they saw them carrying boxes out. So after a day or day and a half, 2 days, now all of a sudden they found ammunition in the garage. You dig? And they began to add stuff every day. Now, the day of the killing, they knew the people that got killed. They had the name, at least the guy, so they knew where he lived. They showed the house. Are you telling me they didn't go in there that first day? You telling me they didn't search that house to make sure there was no bombs or anything in it? And if it was bombs in it, why didn't they announce it the first day that the guy got bullets and guns and hand grenades and all that mess then? No, they had to wait 2 and 3 days later. So that's suspect to me, and it all falls in line with gun control, because they're pushing for people to turn in their guns. That's what they're trying to do, get the guns out of the way. So I don't take anything that they say face value. I evaluate it all, and I'm highly suspicious that they will plant evidence. You don't have one rogue cop. You're seeing it in Chicago. You don't have one rogue cop that gets up in the morning and says, I'm going out and kill me some blackies today. No, you don't. You got a whole department that condones killing black people. Because every time if you listen closely to most of these incidents, once they start firing the police, I heard an incident the other day. I want to say, I know one of the listeners knows about this incident. In Chicago, I think it was Chicago, they fired the guy, and he damn near got on his knees begging not to fire him, because he got to live like everybody else. So you telling me they going to get up in the morning, go out there and kill somebody black, knowing the cameras is out there, knowing the dash cameras on, then they write a report, and police that wasn't even at the scene are going to agree with the report and sign on that that's what happened. I think now there was, I don't remember the specific numbers, but it was something like 8 to 10 cops that killed a 17-year-old boy, 17 shots, but they had about 60 reports that said it was a good shooting. How the hell did they know? So I'm trying to say that it's a culture in the United States, because I've always told y'all, and I've read it to you from their own documents, that the United States was founded for the European white man. He wouldn't even let the white woman in his system without being a slave. It took her almost 150 years to get the opportunity to vote. White woman. Look it up. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. It took a long period for them to vote. And it's in the Constitution that it was set up for European white men. Now, that's their business if they did that, but they should have stayed where they were supposed to stay, which was Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. Now they're all over America, everywhere. And they're fighting to maintain that livelihood. Go back to your original question. What is a terrorist? A terrorist is a victim of the United States. If you fight back, you're a terrorist. Now, they got to be careful, because they've lied so damn much. They've lied so much that it's difficult to call black people terrorists. You notice they haven't done that. But they got other names for us when we start shooting and killing. fighting back, if you will. You know. So I look at it, it doesn't, Trump's language doesn't bother me. The Arabs don't bother me. I know what side my bread, I know who I am. We all got to get our heads on right to know who you really are. But the enemy is not the so-called terrorists. I can tell you that right now. That's not your enemy. And you can talk to some of the soldiers that came back from Vietnam, that came back from Korea, that came back from Desert Storm. And they all kind of said the same thing. And that is, why are you over there fighting them, black man? We don't have nothing against you. European knows that. That's why the army's not out there now, because they know that the army that they got does not work anymore, because they can't go through a city and kill everything in sight, because it's guerrilla warfare. And guerrilla warfare works. So if guerrilla warfare works and you don't know how to fight a guerrilla warfare, then you got to start calling them, put a name on them, label them. And so you say anybody that's got a turban on, shoot them. Somebody made that statement. You need to get a gun. A college professor told him, get a gun. And then when you see an Arab, you think he's doing something wrong, he said, handle it. Now, what does that mean? In 9/11, if you remember, the day after, or days after 9/11, Dan Hillbilly in Texas shot a Hindu in a turban and took his body to the police station and told him, I got one. And the man owned a 7-Eleven right there in the city. Now, think about that.
But that's part of that psychological warfare that's going on.
Well, you said it best a while ago when you said European psychology. That's what that is.
Yeah. And
we got to look at it from that perspective. We can't get all hot and bothered over this idiot, because he's speaking a true American, Trump. Listen to them people. We've been living under that ever since we've been born on this earth. We've been living in terror. Police officer come up behind you driving, you get nervous as hell. What does this bastard want? That type of feeling. And if he gets out, he gonna make you look like an idiot. What are you doing, boy? You know anything you want. I ain't gonna go into that. Y'all know what's happening. But due to the fact you've been brainwashed to love Christianity, you want to live with them. You want to be peaceful with them. How can you be peaceful with Trump? Because he gave you a job? And now he's true Trump now? And all the people, did you hear that, what's it? I don't even know who he is, but his name is Senator Cruz. Did you hear him today?
No. What did he say?
Oh, man.
I don't look at that. That's just a bunch of clowns. I don't look at that. That is not even real.
Yeah. Well, he said that all of the candidates dished Trump for making the statements. They did it in their own little way. Weak as hell, but they all said he wasn't right for him to do it.
What statement did Trump make?
Oh, that he wants to keep all Muslims out of the United States. Kick them out.
Oh, okay.
And don't let none of them in.
Okay.
Yep. Just like they did in the 40s. After, now listen to this, you're talking about terrorists. They dropped a bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. After they dropped the bomb on it, it dawned on them that they had, I don't know, thousands of Japanese that was born and raised in the United States, and the president told them to put them all in a concentration camp. I know you know that. And they had to pay them reparations because the law says if you go to war and defeat the enemy, you owe them reparations. And see, they would tell you they had never been at war with black people. Why does it take some dummy like me to bring up some stuff that Al Sharpton with his dumb ass and all of them other ones ought to be talking about with all that microphone in their face every day? Why can't they tell the truth for once? We gonna get reparations.
Well, I mean, if you are agent, you're not gonna tell the truth. That's not your job.
Yep, you're totally correct. But what bothers me with the agent is his followers. You're right on them. I agree with everything you say, Reverend. Now, that's the one I want to get to, but I want to do it while Reverend's standing there. Just round them up. You know what? Let me tell you a story about Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya back in the 50s. He was the president of Kenya. He knew that the European was what he is, no good. And the United Nations, through negotiations, they finally decided to liberate Africa. So they had a big fanfare and all kind of ceremonies. And in 1959, I think that was the year, all the Europeans left. They decolonized Africa. They had the parades as the English had Kenya. You remember I told you every European nation took a piece of it. England had Kenya, where Jomo was. And Jomo had a parade, a band said, "Get the hell out of here, I'm glad you're gone." They left on a Friday. They left. Monday morning, he rounded up 3 million Uncle Remus-ass Toms and killed them. England turned the ships around and come back, thought the war was on, and he stopped them at the shore. There ain't no war here. We just got rid of that shit that you created because we can't build a nation with them agents in here. It's in the book. I thought I had the name of the book on my tongue. Can't get it out. Burn is about fire. Burn, something like that. It's in the book. He killed they liberated 20 million or half of 500 million, whatever. And when they left, Jomo killed 3 million of that Monday morning, lined them up. He said, "I can't build my nation with y'all in here, because y'all ain't going to do nothing but tell that white man, and we're going to be right back in the same boat. So y'all got to go. We're going to have to cleanse this place big time in America. We can't do nothing with them agents in here." And they know it, and the European know it. So that's his only buffer, sending them agents out to calm us down. Have you ever heard that story before on Jomo Kenyatta?
No. The who?
Jomo Kenyatta was the president I just told you about.
Oh, no. No, I hadn't heard that. When was that? You said.
That was in 1950, late 50s.
Oh, in the 50s? Okay.
Yep. When they liberated Kenya.
Okay.
They called Jomo the Burning Bush. I think that's what it was called, the book. I can't remember. But somebody out there would know about it. Yes, it was something else. Okay? So, we got to be vigilant on our position to know who we are. And we need to have our minds synchronized to the fact, and I did a pretty good show yesterday, Bev. I don't know if you heard it. That
no, I didn't hear it yet.
Okay, you got to listen to it. We are related to the Olmecs way back. Our history goes back to dynasties over 20,000 years before Jesus Christ, before Christ. So that tells me that we don't need someone to come in our land and tell us what to do. And come in here and set up laws and rules and then tell us we got to abide by them, and we gave them a contract to come in here. But you know,
but what do you
go ahead.
But what do you do when you have people that have came in, invaded your land, and they are dismantling the Constitution? They don't pay that any attention.
Well,
in any other contract.
All right. Once you learn the contract, you don't know the contract. The reason that they set up a new contract because they could not live under the old contract. Reason they never let you teach you of the old contract is because they know they can't do this dirt under the old contract. Now, you must be diligent enough to take all of your crimes, and I got to say it two ways. You're going to end up in world court with your crime, with your charges. That's what's going to happen. Now, how do you do that? You create your own court. Once you become private, you create your own court. And there's a way of doing it. I've talked about it. It's called, you use the administrative remedy to get them in default. Now you go before their court and sue for violation of administrative remedy. You don't have to bring up the charges. You're going to bring up that they are default, which means they're totally guilty. You only got to go back through all the charges. They know what the charges are. But you got to be smart enough to know how to use the administrative remedy to get a remedy. We're not going to be able to run them off the planet unless they desire to leave. So we can almost throw that out of our mind. We're not going to be able to get guns and planes and bombs and all that crap to fight them. We're not going to win. That's out. I want everybody to know that. I ain't never even talked about nothing like that. We need to use our heads and use paper and ruin them the way they ruined us. The number one enemy to the European is exposure. None of them want to be exposed. That's why they're so nervous with Trump, because Trump is exposing the fact that he is a stone racist, and he's got 30% of the Americans who support him, or better yet, 30% of the Republicans who support him on his side. That's ugly. Think about that. England said today, I know you didn't hear it because you said you don't listen to it. England sent a notice to the United States today and said Trump is not allowed in the UK. Now think about that. Saudi Arabia sent out a notice today and said all of Trump's products is going in the dumpster today. Now,
wow.
He act like, now, you can say that ain't a big deal. I call that a huge, huge deal. But we can't go to sleep on it. We can't say, oh, we got him. No, we ain't. Because all of them 30% that support him and 100% of the Democrats that support the same crap, but they're just not on Front Street. We got to be able to see that. But no, these Negroes are standing up with the Democrats. I heard them today when I come to the studio today. They're on W1200 talking about Trump is destroying America. What the hell is he talking about? A black guy sitting in for Tokyo Rose. You know what I'm talking about. He's in there representing her. He's talking about, and there's an article in the Free Press today on the front page that's calling Trump a racist dog, and he's destroying the fabrics of democracy and blah, 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 blah. Every time they steal an election, they put Kwame in jail for a crime that he never should have went to jail for. Not only is that terrorism to Kwame, they destroying the fabrics of democracy. And this blackie gonna stand up like he got something to say about Trump. You see what I'm saying? This is the idiotic crap that we have to go through with these old ignorant. A lot of them are ignorant. They don't really know what the hell they're talking about. And they've been trained to say certain things. And they think it's politically correct to try to get along with them. So they'll say any damn thing to be a buddy. When I was on my trip, there was a UK, Old Peck. He was honest. I got to give him credit. For Thanksgiving, he gave a little speech and said that, because he was directing it at me, but he said that we came to your country as pilgrims, come in with peace signs. Y'all fed us, taught us how to live, showed us how to grow crops, and after we got our stomachs full, we took y'all out in the alley and shot every one of them and took the shit, took the stuff from it. I had to laugh. I had to laugh.
Did he say the Indians?
Yeah, Native Americans. Yep. He said Native Americans. Yep. He said Native Americans. And my wife was mad at me because I didn't tell him that over us. You did that too. I was laughing. And then a Scottish guy got up and said, "How in the hell is it possible for y'all to celebrate Thanksgiving? Why do y'all celebrate it?" I couldn't say nothing to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Why do we celebrate Christmas? Why do we celebrate Christmas? We got to be the dumbest people on earth.
Right. We celebrate not takeover.
Yes. And man, I'm telling you, you want to laugh, but you got to laugh to keep from crying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I asked the lady when I got back, was at breakfast, and she was trying to question me about the religion. When I said that Buddhism was not a religion, she questioned me and talked about. I said, look, I don't really want to talk to you, but I'm going to ask you one question. Now we'll go forward with your answer. And my question is, why are we the only people on earth that worships a deity that don't look like us? Oh, she looked at me. She looked like a hound dog, like a Cheshire cat. And I said, well, the conversation's over. Ain't much more we can talk about. And it hurt her. It really did. But I couldn't say nothing else. I said, we're the only ones that do that. So we can be forgiven because we don't know any better. But once you know better, now you're an idiot. And she'll say things like, well, that don't really matter because I know who I am. No, you don't. How do you know who you are? You were born in this madness like everybody else. Now you standing there telling me you know who you are. No, you don't. And none of us really know who we are. That's why we need to study, grasp history, and get in it. Nobody can tell you what nationality you are. You have the right to choose whatever you want to be. If I go back to Red China and live, I'll become a Chinese. I learn how to speak that stuff. Especially if I go up in the hills where the black ones are, up in the mountains where the blackies are. How do you know something different? You know. Well, anyway. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. All right. Let's you want to get into a little study for the day? I think about that. Let's get into it. Now, we're talking about debt, and we're talking about validation. If you go into the books to study about debt and validation, you're going to find that they don't really have a clear definition. Better yet, they don't really give a good definition of a debt or validation. In the absence, here's what it says. Let me bring it up in good fashion. In the absence of a statutory definition, courts give terms they ordinarily mean. Courts give terms their ordinary meanings. And you got court cases, which when you ask for that validation, the courts kind of lean on the ordinary definition because there's no law that specifically states. Plain meaning can be determined by using a dictionary. So if you look up validation, you can find it. The Supreme Court noted, we have stated time and time again that courts must presume that a legislature says in a statute what it means, and it means in the statute what it says there. So you look it up. So you look up the definition of validation. Yep. And they give you, I'm looking at several laws, a case law, and then it says, when the words of a statute are unambiguous, then this first canon is also the last, and that canon is judicial inquiry is complete. So that means when you take a court case, you can use a court case to determine what validation is. The legislation's purpose is expressed by the ordinary meaning of the word used. So that's a lot of gobbledygook, but to me, I understand what they're saying. You need to find case law of validation. So what you would do, you would Google case law validation, or validation case law. Let the computer do the work, bring up cases upon cases that determines what validation is. Then you quote that case in your documents. Or, like some brothers said, you don't want to use court case by name, and that's getting real picky-oo to me. But you could always refer to the courts have stated time and time again exactly what it says. The word from the dictionary means what the dictionary says, and the dictionary means what the word says. So validation. This is key. The key is to ask for verification of status of alleged as holder in due course of it. Claims based on an instrument, note, or contract. So you want them to validate it. The best validation you can have would be an instrument, a note, or a contract. That is very important. When they don't provide it, give the court mandatory judicial notice of the fact with copies of your request. In other words, you're going to ask them to give you validation. When they don't give it to you, then you want to make sure you let the courts know that you asked for it, and you're going to show the court that you asked them to validate it, and they never validated it. Now, this is very important when it comes to debt, because if you want to get technical, and I want to say this to get your attention, because I know somebody going to be emailing me wanting to know, that when it comes to United States of America and it comes to debt, to so-called debt, debt does not exist in America. Debt does not exist. And the reason it doesn't exist because the opponent or the corporation, whoever you're doing business with, cannot validate that you have debt. It's totally impossible. Are you with me, Beth?
So you're saying that we're going back to Sears and Roebuck. So you're saying a person have debt with Sears and Roebuck, you can't validate that? They can't validate that?
No, they cannot. No, they cannot. And
why can't they validate it?
All right.
I'm hearing
they
somebody
can't validate
say
it. I know. They can't validate it because they don't have an instrument, a note, or a contract that says it's validated or they own it or you bought it from them. They can't prove it.
Oh,
Now,
so they got to prove that they own it.
Yes, they got to prove that they are the holder in due course. You got a creditor and you got a debtor. They make you a debtor because you don't know who you are. So let's start with that. All citizens, according to HJR 192 or the New Deal, all citizens of the United States are debtors. Now, we can talk about that at a later time, but as far as the government is concerned, every citizen is a debtor. Now, in order for you to be a debtor, you have to have debt. And if you got debt or you think you got debt, you need to have the debt validated from Sears and Roebuck, and they can't validate it, so you don't have debt, so you're not a debtor.
Now, when you say they need to validate it, they need to, again, what are you saying? They need to give you something that say that they own that washing machine and dryer you bought?
Yes, and they sold it to you. And
but
you
isn't
agreed
that
to
with that bill of sale that you get when you buy that bill of sale that say how much it costs and how much you paid and how much you owe?
No, that's an invoice.
Okay.
That doesn't show they own it because Sears and Roebuck don't own it. Whoever made it would be the ones that owned it the way you're talking. They didn't manufacture it. Sears and Roebuck is selling it. They are a retailer. They're not the manufacturers, and you don't buy it from the manufacturer. And the key to your answer is Sears can't talk. That's a disadvantage for Sears. Would you agree? Or can you agree to that?
Yeah, because it's a corporation.
Yes, ma'am. Not only can they not talk, they can't sign the document. So where's the contract? The United States is founded on contracts. That's the major problem that black folks have. Better yet, that's the problem that Americans have. They don't realize that everything must be done by contract.
Now, this invoice is not a contract because I signed it, the salesperson signed it, but Sears didn't sign it.
No. You showed me an invoice that the salesperson signed. What the hell he signed for? Why is he signing? And you're not going to sign the invoice. You're going to sign what they call the agreement to pay. In the agreement,
isn't that a contract?
Well, maybe we should start from scratch. Let's start all over again. Give me your definition of a contract.
Well,
if you want to take time out, you may want to take time out and look it up. And I'm just suggesting that you might want to do that. Now, if you don't want to do it,
I think I remember from when I was working real estate.
All right.
Isn't it when you have two people agree, the meetings of the mind, and two signatures and a date?
That's part of it. What else? That's not a contract yet.
Okay.
What's going to make it a contract? We can agree. All right, so you and I agree.
And we both got to have the signatures.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's what solidifies a contract.
Right.
Signature. That's why I said the only contract that's really, not the only, but a true contract is a lease. Because a lease on anything, whoever owns the vehicle or the apartment building, they're going to sign it because they own it. And you're only leasing it, and they want it back.
So people that have leased cars, they can't write that debt off? Do Ford sign that lease?
Yes. The dealer signs that lease on the lease car. Yes, there are two signatures on that lease. When you lease it, somebody in that dealership gonna sign it. They gotta sign it because they want the car back, and they're gonna give you instructions on how to bring it back. So many mileage, no dents, no chips, good tires, good rotation. They're going to give you a little contract to tell you how to bring that sucker back. Because if they don't give you a contract, you can keep it. There's got to be a contract. It's got to be sold. And what you really left out, there's got to be complete considerations at both ends. There's got to be. In other words, you can't tell me how much I should pay for an automobile, for example. You know what I mean? Or better yet, here's something real silly. I've been locked up in prison, and they wouldn't let me smoke for 2 years. For example, I'll give you an example. So the day I get out, you come to pick me up, I tell you I want a cigarette. And you say, well, I got two, I'll sell you one. And I say, how much? You say $20. Here's 20. Give me this cigarette. Now, everybody says, that man's stupid. Paid $20 for a cigarette. He could have got a carton for $20. He may have. But his desire at that moment, he considered the $20 to be equal to the cigarette. Well, how are you going to tell him no? You don't wait 20 years to get to that point. You got to take him to the store to buy it. So the consideration was even. It was even Steven in that transaction. He can't go to court and say, you tricked me because you sold me a $5 cigarette. I mean, a 5-cent cigarette for $20. No, I didn't. You paid $20 for the cigarette. You didn't ask me to take you to the store, buy your own. So there had to be a meeting of the minds. There was a meeting of the minds in that transaction. So that makes a good contract. And I'm bringing that up because lawyers would get in court and argue that meeting of the minds thing, and the judge will go along with them because they can out-argue you. See, to be correct in court is not the correct person in court is not necessarily the winner. He who stands last is the winner. So a lawyer learns how to lie and cheat because he gets in an argument and he's trying to present his case. He'll say and create anything to let the courts know he knows what he's talking about and he don't know a damn thing, but I can't rebut it because I wasn't prepared to argue with him. This is life now. Don't y'all get upset about this, but this is what you're going to run into. But if you read your maximums of commerce, there's 10 of them, 10 maxims of commerce. One of them states clearly, he who stands last wins. That's why I give you all this history behind what I'm telling you so you can prepare yourself and know what the hell you're doing when you go up against these people. Because they are prepared. They've been to school. They've been trained and retrained how to argue. That's why everybody calls a lawyer a lying dog. Because he's not saying anything if he can prove it. And if you can't just disprove it, he's going to win. Because the judge is going to look at you like an idiot and say, well, Mr. Mark, if you got anything to say about what this man said, he's a liar. Where? When? How did he lie? Well, I don't know. He said that. I don't know. Well, Mr. Marks, look, I got things to do. You got things to do. If you can't tell me where he lied, what he said wrong, and show me that you know what you're talking about, I got to give the case to him. Next case. That's how it works. So you got to be prepared. So you got to keep in mind what a true contract is, and you got to be prepared to defend it. And you, Beverly, have never had, I don't know about a lease or been married, But when it comes to merchandise, you have never had a contract. Never. And you paid for everything that you bought, but you never had a contract.
So that's how you can get your debt taken care of, because you never had a contract.
No, that's just an argument that you can win with when you start for validation. You got to know that when they send you a presentment, you got to know that it's a void presentment when they send it to you. Let me find this one here. When they send you, all right, listen to this. All of these different types of debts, we got all kinds. Begin with filling out a promissory note, parentheses, a contract. They're going to make a contract with you. You're going to fill it out. Application is a contract. They tell you you got to sign it. Why do you have to sign the application? They got your ID. They know who you are, but they want you to sign it, because that application technically is a promissory note. Because you fill out an application, they're going to send it out to see if somebody will lend you the money. They're going to get a notice back or phone call. Yes, we'll take this one. We'll give him $40,000 on that vehicle. You don't even know it. Now, when you come in, that salesman is going to take you for a joyride all over the place, give you all kind of whistles and bobs and all that stuff. Then you're going to sit down and start going through the paperwork. How much can you pay? Blah, all of that kind of stuff. Now he's going to draw up a agreement. You've already been approved. You don't know it. You think this guy is going to do something. He knows you already been approved. That's why a lot of times they don't want you to get out of the building, because they know they got some money. All they got to do is trick you and make you sign. They want you to get that signature, because the signature creates the money. Nothing else. There is no money. Nothing can start unless you sign your name. All right. When this is submitted to the bank or to the lending institution, and after an approval process, they call around and find out what you're worth. You receive that money by signing this contract. Once you sign the contract, everything goes into motion. And the bank tells you quite dishonestly, or the dealership tells you dishonestly, that you owe them a debt for the amount of the money. So the dealer is going to tell you, you got to pay this, and your payment's going to be this, and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. All of that is a lie. But they also charge you interest for this convenient service. That means that by the end of the 30 years or 30, 60 months, you'll probably have paid about double, if not triple, what the actual loan was about and what you were signing the original contract for. I guess you know that. You signed for $22,000, and by the time you get through 60 months, you done at least paid at least $45,000 or $60,000.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But there is one thing that the banks is not telling you. One very, very big piece of the puzzle. According to Federal Reserve banks or lending institutions, and you can call them all banks, that's what they are, lending institutions, and printed in their banking rule books, money is created when a person signs a contract with you. That's the only time. And see, this is why they want those immigrants to come in. Trump, with his dumb self, You know what? Let's stop for a minute. Let me tell y'all something. Obama signed an executive order, and I believe it was Executive Order 13603. Maybe some of your people know about it. That executive order gives him the power to declare himself dictator and stay in office until he feels that the country's back to normal.
Oh, wow. Why you keep doing that?
I should have brought that.
So you mean to tell me we're going to have 4 more years of Obama?
Yes.
Maybe 8 more years of Obama.
Maybe 8. Yes. Because, see, I always suspected, now this is Ron Marsh now, that's all it is. I ain't got nothing to back this up. But I've always suspected that you can't be as dumb as Trump is and say all that trash without having a motive or a ulterior motive. He can never be president because he can't make any deals abroad. Nobody will fund him or support him because they can't make any money with a bigot in the White House. Mm-hmm. And the Army's not going to fight for him because the soldiers are mad. And that's why the United States is using mercenaries. They use mercenaries now because the soldiers are so upset and don't join. So Trump could never institute anything because Mexico would attack America with his crazy crap. He did. So I think he's out there so that he can create enough conflict and confusion that Obama said in order to maintain peace and stability in the name of democracy, I'm staying in office. Mm-hmm. I'm putting the country under martial law, so anybody that comes up here and knock on this door, they're going to get shot. I'm in here, don't even come in here. And the world will be happy. The world will be joyful, because they already said Trump's an idiot. And Trump will live happily ever after, because I think he's working with the Democrats anyway. That's just what I think. It's a good scenario, so y'all might as well keep your eyes open.
You're not far off. You on it because a lot of people are saying that Trump is the Joker.
Yes. All right, let's keep going here. We going some time. Last year, I remember campaign people. Now they're talking about foreclosures, and this lady was saying, "Show me the note," and it went over quite well in Ohio until the lawyers and the corporation got together and set up some more schemes and got with the court so that the judges said certain things that they didn't have to show the promissory note. They had a big case right here in Michigan, and they had the black. They only got one blackie, and the blackie ruled that MERS don't have to show as a mortgagee, they don't have to show the promissory note, and they can foreclose on property, which was all illegal, but they did it. Okay, so I did not understand the significance of this simple but effective protective statement, but now I do. Show me the note. It's quite a valid request. That's by law. You have a right to see the contract. Okay? Because if I give you an IOU and somebody told me you sold that IOU to Fred Johnson, I don't even know who Fred Johnson is, you already got the money. You're ready to go to Hawaii on vacation. But you want me to keep paying, and you're going to pay off, you got money from him, and you're going to send me money from me. So if I suspect that, I got a right to say, well, look, I'll keep paying you, but I want to see that you got my note. So let's meet. I don't have to take it with me. I just want to meet you at the bank and bring the note and let me see it, and then we'll continue. That's fair enough. No. The law says you can't do it, and then now we got to fight. So that show me the note started going out. Show me the note is a quite valid request. It simply means that you are requesting the original contract that was signed by yourself at the closing with the bank, and the money was created and given to you to buy your house, car, refrigerator, whatever you bought. It's bold letters. The bank cannot ever produce the note. The bank don't have the note. They must, within 90 days after you sign, they must process the note. If they don't, they have to keep it for the entire period of payments. And that means they have to carry it as an asset. That would mean, for example, Bev, if you were selling cars out of your front yard, you had 3 cars out there, and you were selling the cars, and then when you get the note signed, you sell the note. So now when you file your taxes, you had 3 cars out there. When you file taxes, you're only going to file on 2 cars because the other one ain't out there no more. Or the next one, you can sell it, blah, blah, blah. So if you can sell them all out before your tax date, you don't have to pay any taxes because you don't have any cars, but you got all the money because you got the promissory notes. But you got to sell the promissory notes so you can make money on the back end. So now the cars are gone and the note's gone. That's how it works. So when Ron comes back and says, "Ben, this car ain't running right," well, you paid for it. I said, "Well, let me see the contract. Let's see what the contract says." You ain't going to be able to produce it because you ain't got it. Now, you might have a carbon copy. And I say, "Well, wait a minute. This is a carbon copy. You could have changed the original. I want to see the original copy with the ink signature. And I want to see where you deposited it in the bank. You had to cash it. You had to put it up so that it should be stamped just like a check. Boom. Should be a stamp on that bill." She can't produce it because she sold it to somebody else. They do all contracts like that. Not one, all of them. Therefore, the bank, it says here, the bank sells a note to the Federal Reserve the minute it is signed, and the feds give the bank the amount that it then needs of the loan. That's that paper money. Okay? Well, I should monopoly money, not real, just monopoly notes. Therefore, the bank is at a balance of $0 at the point of inception and payments for the loan. Remember, this is how money is created according to Federal Reserve. It only can be made through your signature. And they're saying the Federal Reserve gets it. Well, the Federal Reserve sells it in the open market, especially mortgages, because they call them mortgage-backed securities. They'll take X number of securities worth $80 million and sell that $80 million to China, Budapest, or somebody like that. And they get real money back, and China will get the payments, which is less than real money. That's, a dollar ain't worth about 20 cents out there on the open market. So they got to give them a lot of 20 cents in order for China to benefit from lending us or giving us money when they pay for them daggone mortgage-backed securities. Are you following me?
Yeah, so the reason to validate your debt is so you could go into court.
Yes. But there are validation letters. Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Okay. There are certain validation letters. I got a lot of them that you can tell the presenter, because they sell them around. You may get the first note from JoJo's LLC, who's directly representing Sears and Roebuck. He's going to be a little more polished than others. Well, if you refuse to pay him, he's going to put that note back into the pool, and another firm is going to buy it. The notes would change from A, B, C, and D. I'm just giving you some notes. D, they know you ain't going to pay. So some housewife might get it and take $100, and she might be able to buy $20,000 worth of debt. But they're all sorry debts that ain't going to pay anyway. But she only paid $100 for it. So all she needs is stamps and a letter. Now, if they send that letter to you, Beth, and tell you that you owe, and you know you owe Sears $300, and you've been through a lot of mess and you ain't paid them yet. So now I'm a D debt collector in that last bucket. So all my letters say, well, I'll send your name, address, and all of that, and then I'll say in my letter, if you send me, you owe $300, but if you send me $50, I will make that money go away. 9 times out of 10, you might send me $50. You don't know the difference, especially if I got letterhead on my document. You don't really know who I am, and I call myself Freedom Now Credit Repair Company. I just made that up. And you say, that might help me out because they've been killing me on this other stuff. So you send them $50. They, in turn, will send a notice to the credit bureau, which is not a good credit bureau anyway, because you didn't ask them to track your business. They did that on their own, so they're violating the law, getting in your personal affairs. I'm talking about, you know who they are. I can't even call them all.
Third-party debt collector.
No.
Who are you talking about?
Equifax, Fax.
Oh, you're talking about them. Okay.
Yes, those are the ones that give you trouble. Then you don't pay. Sears and Roebuck sends a letter to them and tell them you didn't pay or you're in default. They put it on your report. You go next door from Sears to Montgomery Ward, try to buy a skillet, and they say your credit's bad. Well, you didn't pay Sears. Who told the credit bureau to do that? You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's a game. It's a game. Because Sears, so when that first person came after you, he broke the law for coming after you because he don't have a real contract to even deal with you. So why is he in your business? And you're going to tell him, if I get a bad report on my credit bureau, I'm going to hold you responsible for that, and I'm going to put a lien on your butt if I call the credit bureau in 30 days and it's on there that I didn't pay. Because I know it's paid for, because I paid for it when I signed my name. Now, it's not.
Now, this doesn't count. This doesn't count with leases, right?
No, you can't do that with a lease because you got a real contract with a lease. If you go to court, the leasee is going to show up. The leasee is going to go downtown and get a summons and complaint against you.
Okay.
That's the difference. When Sears go downtown, you're going to have some crook standing down there talking about they representing Sears. But then if you represent Sears, show me that Sears told you that you can do what you're doing. Show it to me. It's called the DOA, Delegation of Authority. What authority you have even bringing me down in the court? I'm missing a whole day of work, and I get paid $600 a day. So I'm going to sue you for that $600. I got a ticket while I come down, and that's another $50 in inconvenience, all that kind of stuff. I'm getting in your butt for bringing me down here. Because you don't have a right to do it, because you don't have nothing. Sears don't even have the contract. So I know you ain't got nothing. You follow me, Ben?
Got you. I got you.
All right, we got somebody calling in here. Let's see if they catching on. Area code 912. Last four will be 1695. You have a question or comment? Yes, caller. 912 area code 1695. Do you have a question or comment?
Hello?
Yep. You got a question, young man?
Yes, I do. I think it was excellent that you were saying, if you can hear me, I don't know, because my phone's acting kind of loopy right now. But my question is, when you initially went into Tier 4 bus, and you took the application or kind of so-called promissory.
Are you on the speaker?
No.
You on the telephone or you on the speaker?
No, I'm on the telephone.
All right. I can't hear you too well. Speak a little louder and slower. Go ahead. Say it again.
Okay. Is this better? I said what you were saying about going into Tier 4. Initially, you signed the application with the promissory thing that you're going to buy appliances to the guy. What happens when they say, okay, you're denied? Yet, you're going to be denied.
No, that ain't going to work. Bev, can you hear him?
No, we couldn't hear nothing.
Yep. I'm sorry. Back to something.
Relate it to us, Ron. We can't hear him.
I hear it, but I can't make out what he's saying. And he hung up. He said he'll call back, try to get a better connection. That would be better. All right, he's gone. Do you have any callers?
No. If you have any questions, y'all can call 347-215-8041. That's 347-215-8041.
Yep. All right. And if you want to call in my show, 718-506-1864, 1864. You can call in my show, 718-506-1865. He was trying to ask a question. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ben.
No, go ahead. What was he trying to say?
He was trying to ask me about if he makes a purchase. I didn't hear it. Let it go. Hopefully you'll call back. Yep.
So the validation is your ammunition to take to court.
Yes.
To say that you don't owe the debt or you don't have to pay the debt.
Correct. But now, you got to be careful because the judges are very slick.
Mm-hmm.
When I say slick, they are working with, they used to be attorneys, and they're working with the debt collectors. So the debt collector is just like a judge, too. So first thing you want to do is protect yourself. Now, how would you do that? First of all, you're going to say, when you write and ask for validation, the first thing you should say is, I want to pay you every dollar you're asking for. However, I have to have conditions. Now, the conditions are, you got to validate the debt. So when you get to court, you're going to tell the judge, I don't even know, and I'm going to come back to this. I don't even know why I'm down here. Your job, Your Honor, if there is a conflict or an adverse complaint among us, we should come to court to get a hearing for you to rule who's right or who's wrong. But since I have agreed to pay him, there is no conflict. I don't have a conflict with this guy. That is a key argument that you must start with, so your paperwork's got to reflect that you really want to pay. I'm going to pay you not what I owe you. I'm going to give you $1 million bonus. That's how much I love you. If you validate the debt. How can he have an argument? Well, the judge got to look at him like I told you earlier, the last one standing. The judge got to look at him and say, well, lawyer, what you got to say? You follow me?
Right, right.
Yeah, because then now the judge can't make you pay, because when he came after you, he wanted you to he came with a one-sided offer to pay him, which you don't owe him, and you're telling him, yeah, I'm going to pay you, I'll give you what you want, because I'm tired of looking at your dumb butt. I got conditions. The number one condition is I got to have validation. I got to have the contract back. Now there's no need for the judge to rule yes or no, because there's no argument. Do you follow me?
But if the courts are saying that they don't have to produce the promissory note, that's the contract, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, yes, that's the contract. But notice, you created the argument because you said, show me the note, and the judge knows the guy don't have it, so he's going to file on you because the judge knows. And listen to this carefully. The judge knows what a secured interest in a transaction is. A security interest. Write that down, Bev, and maybe you get a chance to look up.
All right. Security
interest. Security interest. Yes. And while you're doing that, I got a caller. I got a caller. All right. Area code 336. 2268. You got a comment? A question?
Yes, peace.
Peace, brother. Peace. Go ahead.
Yeah, brother, it's a pleasure to finally get through. I've been listening to your shows. I'm calling here from out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
All right. Appreciate your call, sir. Welcome aboard.
Yes, sir. I listened to your show when you said don't call you or bother you until you get your authentication.
Okay. Yes, I said that.
Yes, and I would like to say peace to the goddess, Sister Beverly.
Peace to you.
All right, I'm Brother Yusuf. I'm a Yusuf L myself, Brother Ron.
All right. Are you down there with Jonah? Are you in that area with Jonah Bay?
Well, they're in Atlanta. They're 5 hours away.
Oh, okay. That's right. You said Carolina, wasn't Carolina? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead with your question, Brother Yusuf.
All right. I wanted to try to get in contact with you because I just received my authentication back.
From where?
From the Secretary of State, from John Kerry.
All right. Now, what's your question?
After doing that, I really wanted to know some of the other steps I know about doing the affidavit of ownership. That was one of them. What would be some of the next steps? But if you could also just kind of touch on the, oh my God, which one was it? Just kind of happy to be getting through right now.
The injunction? Yes,
the injunction.
The right to travel.
Oh, the right to travel. No, not right to travel. The injunction or the trust. And the EIN 98, the foreign trust, and the 98.
Okay. I have the trust. That came through 2 weeks ago. I have the 98 number.
Oh, all right. Now, so you got it back. Now, what you want to do now is get that affidavit of ownership notarized. That's number one. And then I would go downtown and what have you named your your trust? What's the name? Yeah. Is it your name, Yusuf?
No, it's under Per M. Haru.
Okay.
The ancient name of coming forth by day and by night.
Okay. Yep. I would go down and get my DBA, doing business as. So you take your Christian name. Yep. Do your Christian name, because they're only going to accept that. And you're going to do business as Yusuf, so that you can use Yusuf in your to be a trustee in your trust, and you can get ID and everything for Yusuf, and you'll have a EIN number that you can use that you create Yusuf to run the trust.
So you talking about my national name?
Well,
Your
Enriquez,
right?
No, he says.
I'm sorry,
Yusuf,
sir.
Yusuf is not your Christian name. I'm presuming that. Is that correct?
It's Yusuf Suggs, but my national name is Suggs L.
All right. What were you born? What was your Christian name?
Yusuf Suggs.
Your mama named you that?
That's what's on the birth certificate, because I had my name changed back in 2002. So when I went back and got my birth certificate, everything had already been switched over.
All right. Well, I can only assume that your mail. How does your mail come to the house? What name is on it when it comes to you?
Yusuf Suggs, S-U-G-G-S.
All right. Well, you need to take that Yusuf Suggs and go get a DBA and change it to whatever you want it to be. You're going to do business as, and you done got me confused, but you're going to do business as, because you want to get out of all caps. That Yusuf Suggs that you're talking about is in all caps. If it comes through the mail, it's got to be in all caps.
That's correct.
So that's a slave name. That would be the Christian name that I was asking for. So
right.
Now you want to get that out of there. Now you want to change it to business as whatever you call yourself now. What do you call yourself now?
Yusuf Suggs L, E-L.
All right. And those are two different names. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. You want to go downtown and get it, and you got to go downtown because they got you down there as Yusuf, whatever your mama gave you. Yusuf Suggs, what you said.
Yeah.
And you're going to say, okay, you ain't got to tell them about 98. Don't bring up none of that. You just tell them that you're going to open up a business and you're going to call the business Yusuf Sub L and get that paperwork. Now, you can take that Yusuf Sub L and put it in your instruments, in your trust, that you're going to be a trustee in there as Yusuf Sub L. So now you're going to do business from the trust instruments in the name of Yusuf Sub L. And you want it to be opened up or give you credit card or debit card in Yusuf Sub L. You're going to need to get, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I got some new information the other day, and I'm trying to figure out how to put it online. But when any trust that you have, how did you file for it? That's right. You got a 98 number. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you're private.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to do business, you got to know. So I've been told, and you're getting ahead of me, because Jonah and the other Yusuf are the ministers of that trust. I don't have.
Okay.
I got an irrevocable trust, and I'm going to work it when I get my 98 and put that irrevocable trust into the new trust. So
that's an express trust.
Yes. But I got all the other stuff. I got my DBA and I got all the other, my birth certificate and all of that. But I'm trying to do my injunction before I deal with the trust. So let me backstroke out of that. But you got to go. I know you got to go down and get that Yusuf Sub changed to Yusuf Sub L. You're gonna have. You're supposed to do that.
Well, I will share this. Now, I do have my nationality documents on file down at the registrar's office as well, and my recension of power of attorney, the RPOA. I have that on file there. I have my I have my nationality paperwork on file. It's been on file for about 10 years there.
All right. Have you filed your UCC-1? Some people
No,
say
I have not.
Some people say you don't have to do it. But see, when I get that far, I'm going back to Jonah to get more clarification on which way to go. And so I don't want to stretch out and give you information that's going to turn you around and get you, kind of messed up. So you're doing good. All I'm going to tell you is you got to get that DBA squared away.
Okay.
And you can almost do the DBA without going downtown, but you got to get it out. Since your name is already Yusuf in the system, that's a straw man. That Yusuf sub is a straw man. And you want to get out of that. I know that for a fact. So
yes.
You're going to have to, I would, like I did, Ron March. I went down and changed it to Ron March L. Bay. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I got that on record. So I'm away from the other. And I got an EIN number for Ron March L. Bay. So when I do put all that in with the 98, I'm going to be I hope to be real airtight on all of my protection because everything will be in my foreign trust.
Okay.
That's where I'm going
so I
for.
probably need to go ahead and call and get a 98 on that on the L, on the USF L.
Yes. A DBA. Get your DBA on that from Yusuf sub to Yusuf sub L. You got to do that. And it would hurt you. I'll suggest, since you are so far ahead and you got so much stuff, I would write down what you really want to do, and I would call Jonah or go on Jonah's website and pay for a consultation. That makes them come to you. A lot of people, I tell them to call Jonah, they say, well, he don't call back. Well, I understand. So, but if you send him money, he's got to call back because you done paid for the consultation. Somebody's going to call you and set up a time. And you want to have all your ducks in a row so you can utilize that time when you ask him these questions to get squared away. Because he said so many people call him, they talk so damn much that by the time he get ready to answer, the time is gone. Now they made the time is up. You just bend your mouth while I have saying the same shit over and over and over. You know how people do, just saying the same old crap. So I would suggest you write down what you've been asking me. So when you get to Jonah, bam, write it down. Bam, write it down. Bam, thank you, Jonah. Yeah. And so forth. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Last thing is, two things. I want to try to contact you to try to talk with you to bring you to this area.
What area? Carolina?
North Carolina, near Greensboro. I'm an hour away from Charlotte, 30 minutes from Greensboro.
I know where you are. I got people in Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
Yep. I go
that's
through
beautiful.
Greensboro. Yep. That's good. So you can email me, give me some particulars, and I'll communicate with you. We'll set up something.
All right, and that's at the yahoo.com, correct?
Yes, sir. Ron March Show at yahoo.com. Okay.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask this question, then you can mute me off to kind of answer it. And again, I appreciate your time because I'm dealing with the banks right now, and I would like to thank you personally for your program because of what I've heard, brother. When I first heard you and Jonah Bay about the 98 number, I've been on ever since. And I mean, to pull up the National Currency Act of 1864 and to read that and to go into some of the other things, and the bank's attorneys now constantly coming at me trying to say, well, you're not a lawyer because I'm my mother's power of attorney. And they trying to say they tried to coerce her into a loan modification because she put the house in the trust. So we get ready to go back to court, and I'm going to ask them to make sure they put up their delegation of authority.
Yes.
But there's some other things I wanted to ask, to kind of go along with that, because they're constantly saying, well, you can't represent her. But we like, well, when they tried to give her a loan modification, they called and said, your mother has a house in the trust? I said, well, she better have a trial date because they have illegally foreclosed on it. But now they can't do anything.
Yep. They can't do it because it's in the trust. You're right.
Right. It's in the trust. So now they're trying to do a pleading in bar to try to discredit my mother. To try to say she didn't have any standing because she had given away her rights to the trust.
Oh, Lordy. How old is your mother?
She's 80 years old, brother, and I have her listening to you because of your age. I think you said you're around 74?
74, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I called her. I said, Mother, listen to him. She's going to sound like, I said, he's going to sound like your cousin.
Well, listen to me. Do not let Mama go downtown by herself. If they call for her to come, never. And tell her if they get on the porch, take a baseball bat, crack them, get off my porch.
Well, I've already put up no trespassing signs all around the whole house, and they sent somebody out. I sent a letter to the attorneys letting them know that if they constantly try to contact her, knowing that I'm her power of attorney, then we will consider that a deliberate threat of harassment. You've been to court. You've been to court. Is that right? Well, yeah, we got to go back next week. They want to do a pleading in bar because they have switched attorneys.
You got a case number. That's what I wanted to know. You do have a case number.
Yes, sir.
Right. You can send to the clerk. You can write an affidavit or a notice of no trespassing. You can do all of that. Put that case number on that and send 3 copies. Send 3 copies to the court. Or you should take them down there to the court. Now,
I'll take them down there.
All right? They're going to stamp them, time stamp them. That's number 1. So they're going to give 1 to you, 1 to the lawyers, 1 to the judge, and 1 for the court. Now, you got on record for them to notify you if they want to talk to your mama, because you are the legal guardian over mama. And that means stay away from mama. And you got it on record. You follow me? Send them a letter. You can get around all that. Just send it to court and put that case number on there. And they all will get a copy of it.
The case number with a notice of no trespassing, and for them, anybody want to do anything, that they have to contact me.
Yes.
Okay.
And give them Exhibit A. Exhibit A can be a copy of your power of attorney with her.
Yeah, the judge tried to discredit me last time. He said, brother, your mother's not incapacitated. And so he looked at her and was like, well, Miss Suggs, can you speak? And all she did was just point to me. And I was like, well, first I was like, well, through the Power of Appointment Act, she can appoint who she want to appoint.
You're right. I'm sitting there thinking, if she doesn't have the proper education to deal with them crooks, she can have a representative. I want you to look up, friend, they call it friend. Oh, man. Email me, brother. I'll send it to you. It's called.
I'm emailing you as soon as we finish. I'm gonna email you.
Because I'm gonna send you the law that says friend of fact, friend of fact. You have a right to represent anybody that you want. They did it during the Civil Rights era. Because all those people down south with Martin Luther King, they were not competent enough to fight them rednecks, and they didn't want to be in trouble by fighting them, so they used this law. And the Shuttleworth was the case that they used because he was the one that did it. Remember, Reverend Shuttleworth was one of the preachers that was raising hell down there, and the case is called Shuttleworth and something. Anyway, you can be a lawyer for that. You damn that judge. They trying to really rape y'all, man. Oh,
brother, let me tell you something. This is what started my passion back in 2005 when the attorney had me to do. And I would take the ignorance, because that's where I was at that time, had me to do a bankruptcy and a foreclosure. And I'm letting them know that the other day, one of them I saw, and I asked him to give me his card because I know the statute of limitations on fraud is none. And he didn't know why I was smiling at him, because I'm coming back at him, because I have all the paperwork, and they was dealing with MERS and everything.
Yes. Now listen, you may not know it, I'm going to tell it to you. you can use your mama's address and your address as temples in your trust. And it becomes no trespassing from the temple. It's like an embassy. It's like an embassy. Nobody can come on that property because it's part of the trust. That's how you do it. You gotta you teach when you go to see mama. You educate. That's it. I'm getting nervous. The Department of Education, you are the Minister of Education because you're the trust, one of the trust, and you teach over the mama's house because you go over there and talk to her and keep her informed on the house. And your house is a temple where you live, where you have people come over and you teach them what guests, so that becomes a temple. Yes, and it's called it's like the embassy. They can't take it. They can't do nothing with it.
Wow.
What address did you use when you filed for your 98 EIN?
My P.O. box.
Well, when I filed for my irrevocable trust, I used my home address, which made it my embassy.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Yep. Maybe you should go and get. They got a book that you can go to Barnes and Noble, wherever down there, and it's called Wills and Estate for Dummies. And it's a yellow. That's the name of it. It's a yellow, one of them yellow paperbacks, and it gives you a lot of information. It gives you a lot of information on how to work a state. But you want to write all that down when you get that consultation with Jonah.
Yes, sir.
You dig it?
Yes, sir. So
and
I was thinking,
and Ron, he won't be lying because he comes over to his mother and they turn to Ron March on and they are studying. Yes, education, temple of education. Yes, and that becomes part of your state. Yep. Now, they got rules and ways. Now, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with foreign trust, but that irrevocable trust has rules how you do that and all of that. So you need to get that down on paper when you talk to Jonah. And he may have some more ideas because all it is creative thought. There's no one way of doing nothing. You can do it any way you want as long as you know what you're doing. Like I said earlier in the show, the last one standing is going to win. That's why they still ask you.
And brother, that you're making a very good point, and I'm telling you, learning procedure, and doing some of the things that you say. And I'm just saying this to people out there because I've been in the ignorance. I've paid people to give me what I thought was procedure, but they didn't really know it. I've been through the ups and the downs, and through it, just trying to move on faith. I've been able to back them up enough to get stronger as I'm continuing my strive in learning this knowledge.
That's what they call paying your dues. Paying your dues, brother. That's what they call paying your dues.
So, and I'm going to get off the phone, brother, and I appreciate you, and I'm going to email you. But when I go to court for my mother, I was just thinking about faxing something over because I tell you, these new attorneys, man, they're something. And they just come straight in. And I said, well, since y'all getting real smart and want to try to make me not be my mother's power of attorney, I'm going to send them something over tomorrow by fax about their delegation of authority. Like, don't even come into the room until they show it. And I'm going to send it over to the clerk.
Yep. I got another piece I'm going to send you that the lawyers are not allowed to be in court anyway because they're foreign entities.
I was listening to that this morning.
Yes, they got their P number. Their oath is given to the Queen of England. They're traitors.
Let me tell you how serious this is. You're right, because when I pulled the lawyers was trying to get my mother to discredit me as her power of attorney because I kept asking them questions. And when I told them to their face, I said, you all are working in collusion with the bank. The daddy attorney stood up and said, get out my office. Get out my office. I said, no, I said, run your mouth right now like you've been running, talking to his son. I said, because I got you down for harassment, and this is which deals with ethics, because you're talking to an 80-year-old woman like she's a teenager. I said, who do you think you're talking to? So when I sent in information on the bar comes back because he wanted to withdraw from the case. And the bar said, well, we can't change a judge's rule. I'm like, well, we didn't send you in to change a judge's rule. We got it up on ethics and breach of duty of the contract, because you can't tell her that they did a fake foreclosure and we're going to get you money, and then y'all flip, and now you're trying to get into a loan modification. So come to find out, last December they had filed a final consent order, and I had my sisters and everything talking against me. And when I researched and said, well, Mama, did you know the attorney's already signed a consent order or final? She said no. So that blew the whole thing right there. And then when they found out that it was on record that the house was in the trust, the lawyer said, I wish y'all would have told me this from the beginning. I said, well, I came to your daddy back in July. That's a lie. He said, that's a lie. I said, well, we can put it in an affidavit. You can tell them under the penalty of perjury.
Yeah.
So these are straight crooks, man. I mean, these are straight crooks.
Yeah. Well, you can nail him by dropping. You can nail him by dropping affidavits. I was just going to inject. You can nail him by dropping affidavits on his ass. He got to answer them, and you can charge him with anything you want. And then once he refuses to answer, now you can have him disbarred. Now, we don't want you off the case. We're going to disbar you. We're going to take that P number away because you're foreign.
Well, the judge took him off, and when he took him off, the lawyers for the bank was in there with him. And I was like, what are you doing here? This has nothing to do with you. So that's why I'm going to send up declaration of authority. But what we have done since then, had a securitization audit done.
Whoa. Call me, brother. Email me. I got some good stuff. Email me.
I'm in 2 minutes. As soon as we get off, I'm going to email you, because that securitization is powerful, because it can't. The first thing it said is, the first fraud they found was that the note was separate from the deed. They took two separate paths.
Yes. And the note has been destroyed. You read in the audit, it'll tell you the note was destroyed in New York. The law says it must be destroyed in order to securitize. That's why securitizing is illegal. Securitization is illegal because they're supposed to destroy the note. And they got people keep paying it because they think the note is alive and the note's not there. I'm just talking about that.
Yeah.
They destroy the note. The law says you must destroy the note. You can't double dip.
You can't double dip. And I just want to say for those out there that everything you're saying, brother, for those who do not believe, because like I said, I have continued to go through some of the ups and downs, and I will say and praise the Most High that you have helped to fill some gaps, and I appreciate that you're constantly telling people to read. They have to read. They have to read. But I'm going to email you, brother, because I want to get you down in this area.
All right. I'll get back with you tomorrow, no later than Friday. All right?
Oh, yes, sir.
I'll get back with you. All right?
All right. Thank you.
Enough.
And peace to you.
All right. Peace and love to you. Yep. Okay, Beth, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I am.
I got this caller came back. 912-1695. Are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead,
Can
caller.
you hear me?
Yes,
hey,
I can.
I'd like you to continue talking about the validation. And like I said, that you guys are doing a great job. But I'm sorry, I got to get away from that stereo that I have because it's getting too much of a feedback here.
That's what you.
But I was saying to you, yeah. So I'm just going. My house is I don't know what's going on here.
Let me get back on it. The time is running out. You got a question?
Yeah, I know, and I just want to say hello to Beverly, and I just want to say this to you.
Hello.
And let you do what you got to do. Beverly, you're a lot smarter than you might come off. I heard you with the Prophet X man, whatever his name is. But I was listening to you the other day. Robert X. Yeah, I'm on to you now. I see what's really going on. And I'm going to say this, too, to Ron. When you were talking about Donald Trump, I really believe he's a sacrificial lamb, and he works with Obama now because there's no way in the world them guys could do what they're doing. And then he signs the executive order to continue the process. So, hey, let's throw you out there, but yet it's still, you got to believe you're hot. They flip and flop. And talk a little bit more about the signature, because it's like he was saying about, you guys talk about trust, trying to keep stuff. And that's easy to do. If your signature creates money, and if you got the income verified, there's nothing that you should never be stopped. If I buy a house today and you want to take it, come and get it. I'll buy another one bigger next week, based upon the information that you've given out.
That's true. But all of us can't. We got to be creative, brother. A lot of us don't know how, and a lot of us don't make that kind of money that we can stand for them to keep taking from us that we work so hard in life to give. You know, a lot of people are on Social Security. A lot of people are on retirement programs. Now, if you set up a retirement program 30 years ago and everything worked and you got out of it, and you've already got out of the plant, you're in your retirement years, and now they're going to change the rules where your retirement money is not going to let you live the way you were supposed to live, you got a major problem because you can't go back to work. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
that's true.
These are the people I try to get to that you got to study because they don't have a right to do what they're doing, but you got to know how to stop them. And I don't know everything. I know I'm going to fight. I know I'm going to fight. Whatever they do to me, I'm fighting. Whatever they say is right, I'm going to say is wrong. Whatever they say is wrong, I'm going to say is right. Because I got to learn so I can stay on top of the game. You dig it? So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I dig it. I like the way you fight. Just like I told my uncle today, he's about 70 years old. And I told him, I said, it works just like this. When you move, I move.
There you go. There you go.
Just like that.
Yep.
Just like that.
All right, brother.
But I just want to say this to you again, Ron. When you fill out the application, you fill out the application, and let's say they deny you, but they still got the application with your signature on it. That is still good.
Yes,
what do you put on there to stop them from shopping that thing around?
I reserve my rights. You can go look up UCC 1-207 or UCC 1-308. Put that under your signature that you are reserving your rights. They cannot cash it. It becomes defunct. It can only be used for what you want it to be used for, and it says for an application. And you were denied, so they can't do it. So you got to remember, anytime you sign your name, reserve your rights. You got it?
Outstanding, man. Yes.
Yep. All right.
I understand.
All right, man. We're at the bottom of the hour. They're getting ready to cut us off. Yep.
All
right. What we're gonna have to do, man, is do a part 2 next week.
Okay.
If it's all right with you.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a lot.
So we'll talk next Wednesday at 6:30.
Next Wednesday at 6:30. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace and love, man.
And peace and love to the family.
Yes. Peace and love to the family. All right. Talk to you. Bev, you still there?
Yes, I am.
We got to meet.
Hello.
This weekend. Yes. We're going to meet this weekend. I'll call you.
I'll call you.